times and give residents access to the health care they urgently need. We've introduced a 3-step plan to increase capacity at community clinics and provide select medical and surgical procedures to patients. Just last week, we announced the location for the first medical school in the GTA in over 100 years, which will be in Brampton. To make getting around the community easier and more convenient, transit users are now able to tap their credit cards as opposed to having to load Presto cards. And additionally, in order to increase accessibility and convenience to our services, we introduced an online streamlined drive test appointment booking portal. And today, we have Minister Rasheed and Premier Ford here to announce another program that's been put in place to better serve our city and all of Ontario. This is only the beginning, and we're just getting started. We'll continue to work hard to provide the best for Brampton and for Ontario. And with that, I'd like to introduce the Honourable Minister Rasheed.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, MPP Grewal, for that kind introduction. I want to begin by thanking Premier Ford, as well as our incredible team of MPPs representing the good people of Brampton. And I would also like to welcome His Worship, Mayor Brown, to the announcement. Mayor Brown, welcome. As always, I'm grateful to be here as part of Team Ontario with all of you. Our government has been focusing our efforts on delivering customer-centric services to you, the people and businesses of Ontario. And I'm very proud to share that our hard work has been paying off. Take Service Ontario, for example. This important institution behind me and all other 272 locations across Ontario serves as the hub for service delivery in our province and the public face of government. But we know that Ontarians always deserve more, and we know our government can deliver more, especially when every customer, every Ontarian counts. We have heard from Ontarians that they prefer to access government services online. That's a fact. And it is the reason why we have more than 55 services available online right now that you can access anytime, anywhere. And it's why over 30 million Service Ontario transactions are done online annually. For you, the customer, this means less wait times, less commuting, and more convenience. And with new online services being added to that list regularly, we are speeding up on our commitment to build the Service Ontario of tomorrow, where every new customer we bring online means one less person in line. None of this would be possible if we didn't have the advantages that emerging digital technologies are bringing into our province. Accessing government services should be as easy as using online banking or shopping online. Thanks to these advances, we are getting closer towards that being the new status quo in our digital-first but not digital-only Ontario. By leveraging technologies that better reflect our digital world, we are presented with a unique opportunity to reassess the type of service delivery that is best for every community based on their needs and their desired outcomes. What I've outlined today may seem like small steps, but it's a big leap forward in the relationship between Ontarians and their government, and I thank you for joining us on this journey. I would now like to invite Premier Ford to tell us more about the wonderful work we are announcing for Team Ontario this morning. Thank you, and Premier, over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Kaleed, and it's great to be here. And good morning, everyone. I'll tell you, when I walked outside that door this morning, I thought, boy, I was going to freeze right on the spot. You need your winter woolies on if you haven't went out already. It's a real pleasure to be back here in the great city of Brampton. You know, Mayor, I think I might as well have another residence here because we're here every single week alongside Minister Rasheed and MPP Grewal. I'm also happy to see many other local members, Minister Williams, Minister Sarkaria, MPP Sandhu, and MPP McGregor. I love saying McGregor. And they're all champions of Brampton and a big part of our team at Queen's Park. And it's always great to see Mayor Brown always working for the people of Brampton and a great partner for government. Folks, you want to see a good partner, and we talk about municipalities. Mayor Brown's doing a great job, and we have a phenomenal relationship. I also want to give a special shout out to the staff here at Service Ontario and at all Service Ontario centres across the province. Over the past 2 years, throughout the pandemic, the teams at Service Ontario have done an incredible job and really hard work to ensure the people and businesses were able to connect to the critical government services they needed. We often talk about the front lines of healthcare, like nurses, doctors, and personal support workers. Workers at Service Ontario centres, they're the front lines of government services. We're so grateful for the work you do and what you did throughout the pandemic and continue to do for the people of Ontario. So thank you. Thank you so much. My friends, from day one, our government has been working hard to make it easier, faster, and more convenient for families and businesses to connect to government services. In the pandemic, we can't be an offline government in an online world. So all across government, we're putting customers first, taking steps to find solutions that provide convenient access to government information and services, saving you time and money. In short, we're improving customer service across the whole of government. We launched the 511 app, providing drivers and trucking industry with up-to-date highway information on driving conditions, construction, collisions, and road closures to support safer travel and faster route planning. We launched Health 811 so Ontarians can connect with a registered nurse day or night, by phone or online, or find local services like mental health supports, community health centres, and walk-in clinics. And at Service Ontario, we now have more than 55 services that customers can access online, including renewal of health cards, license plates, and other government IDs and permits. But we know there's a lot more we can do to save people just a little more time and a little more money. Today, we're announcing enhancements to Service Ontario's appointment booking system, which will allow customers at the busiest centres to book multiple services for a single in-person appointment, or book an appointment for the entire family. And the new booking system is now mobile-friendly, letting you book or reschedule on a smartphone. We're also rolling out new technology to cut down the time callers spend on the phone. And, my friends, there's more to come. In the coming months, Service Ontario will be introducing a number of new pilot programs. For example, soon-to-be married couples will be able to skip a visit to City Hall in participating municipalities and apply for a marriage license online. And by spring, digital dealership registration will expand to include trade-ins and used cars, making it easier, faster, and more convenient for Ontarians to buy a car. This is just another step we're taking to provide you with better customer service, because when it comes to serving you, the people of Ontario, we're making continuous improvements, one step at a time, making government services simpler, faster, and better. We're putting our customers first. We're working for you. I want to thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you. Good.
We'll now go to the floor for questions. If you can please identify yourselves by name and outlet.
Good morning, Premier Dustin Cook with the Globe and Mail.
Hi, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
I want to ask you about bail reform. You and the other premiers have called on the Prime Minister and the federal government to act, but legal groups say the province can take action by ramping up bail supervision or looking at addressing the backlog of hearings. Is this all in the federal government, or is your government looking to take action?
Yeah, we're looking to take action too. We've sat down with the Attorney General along with the Solicitor General and coming up ways that we can support the system. But really, you know, the criminal code, it falls under the federal government. And you see the crime increasing day in and day out, and you know, talking to the police officers, the front line police officers, and I'm going to quote Mark Baxter yesterday, the head of the Ontario Police Association. He said at one time the police officers, saw a revolving door. Now they see an open door. So really bad people are getting arrested and, shooting up the streets and the gun crimes. And all of a sudden, a day later, 2 days later, they're out on bail. And then they go recommit another crime. So we need to put the bad folks away in jail and not let them back on the streets so easily. It's some of the cases have showed me are staggering how they get out on bail. So we need to do a better job. And anyone caught with a gun in a heinous crime, they should be going away for a long time.
While you wait for the federal government to respond to that request, the Ontario's justice policy is studying bail reform. Will your government be increasing any funding? Can we expect to see something in the budget? How quickly do you want to act on this?
Well, we want to act on it right away. Again, we want to make sure we don't see. I'll give you an example. Up in Vaughan, even in Brampton, Mayor, I'm sure you see the car thefts. They're stealing cars like they're taking candies out of a store, and then they're putting them. They're putting them on containers. A lot of them over in the Montreal port, and away they go. So we need the federal government to give the resources to Canadian Border Services to be able to look into these containers and put a stop to it, because I've never seen so many cars being stolen in one area. Do you want to comment on that, Mayor, at all, about the crime that you're seeing?
Just to say, the Peel Police Services Board passed a motion on Friday supporting the request of the provinces for bail reform. This is what I hear from our frontline officers in Brampton and Peel region, that it's a revolving door, and it's a real challenge because it's the biggest pressure on a regional budget. And because of breaks in the system like bail reform, it means you don't have the manpower to deal with the proliferation of auto thefts and other crime. And so, auto thefts is a huge issue. Premier, thank you for identifying that. It's up across the country, and we're really, really struggling with it. So any help we can get from the federal government to address breaks in the system like CBSA would be a big help, and we appreciate the provincial leadership on this.
Thank you.
Hi, Premier. Mike Crawley from CBC.
Hi,
we've been doing a bunch of stories lately about the shortage of workers in Ontario. But one of the things that we've been finding is that a lot of the jobs that are available, or the bulk of the jobs that are available, are really low paying and don't require much in the way of education. And so what would you say to Ontarians when they go and look at the jobs that are available, and it turns out that a lot of them are not what you would really call great jobs?
Yeah, excellent question, Mike. You know something, we saw last month another 42,000 people finding jobs, and the month before that we saw again. But you made a good point. There's always different areas and different markets. I always believe in the free market, and the market always dictates. I know when people are looking, employers are looking for a job and you can't find someone, but they're going to their competitors down the street, they're gonna raise the offer per se. So I hear what you're saying. We're putting $1 billion into training people, unskilled people, to make sure that they have a skilled job that they can go into, and we're going to continue pushing the economy. Mike, I hear what you're saying. There are some lower paying jobs, but there's a lot of higher paying jobs too. Since we took office, there's 500,000 more people working today than there was 4.5 years ago. We're short about 380,000 people to fill the jobs that we have. And, I always say you can walk down any street. You can walk out this door and start finding jobs in this industrial park immediately. Everyone needs someone. But I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way, Mike. I'm just acknowledging there's a wide range of opportunities out there for people to get trained or find jobs in every sector.
And looking ahead to your meeting next week with the Prime Minister and the other premiers on healthcare,
yes.
What's going to come out of it? Do you have a target for how much money you're going to see? How open are you to there being strings attached in terms of where the funding that you hopefully end up getting from the federal government actually goes to within the healthcare system?
So I had a good conversation with Premier Stephenson last night. She's the chair of the premiers this year. We're going there, and we want to make sure that we get a great deal for the people of our provinces and right across the country to improve health care. But we're going to be very collaborative with the federal government. I think everyone in the country, the premiers, the federal government, they just want to get a deal. We're at that point. Let's do the best for the people that you represent, and it's going to be very collaborative. We're going to work well together, and hopefully we'll be able to strike a deal sooner than later. I agree with the Prime Minister's comments the other day. I think it was yesterday. We obviously aren't going to strike a deal on the 7th, but we should be striking a deal shortly thereafter. We can't keep dragging this on when we're all feeling pressure in health care.
So, quick question. Since I've been in the Service Ontario, I just received a text message saying, claim my Canada worker benefit if I text yes back to this. Obviously a scam. There's been non-stop these phishing emails, and I get 3 texts a day, which are all scams. What's the province doing with regards to policing for all these online threats?
Another great question. Doesn't that frustrate you when you're getting all these scams and you don't know whether to push it or press a button or so on and so forth? But I'm going to hand it over to my great minister, Kaleed Rasheed.
Thank you. Thanks, well, thank you very much for the question. We completely understand. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we do face these things, but as a province, we always try to educate Ontarians about not to accept such scams. Whenever there is a request that we will bring forward from Service Ontario, it will be through official channels, but the request is that please to Ontarians not to accept such text messages or click anything that you feel that is not accurate. So please, and we as a government will continue to educate Ontarians about such scams. Thank you, Bob.
And that's all the questions we have today. Thanks so much.
Oh, my goodness. Well, anyways, thank you very much. Again, Mayor, it's always great to be here with our all-star team, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we bring customer service excellence right across this great province and always look at continuous improvement. Thank you, and God bless. Bye-bye.